When we were young, we read more often because we had to. It was the only way for us to get knowledge and to be enlightened. Read to your heart's delight and be enlightened. Let's just read. It's a podcast by Andy's Personal Development. Stay tuned for more reading and enlightenment.
Okay, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and we are live. Let's just we have a very special guest. A young man he is an author and also a young entrepreneur, and his name is Asher Robinson, aka Asher Warren, which is his pen name, and he's been writing since the age of 7. Written novels such as Maniaca, and we'll probably have a look at that sometime during the call. But as I introduce him, let me not take the spotlight because he's the one that's going to share with us so much about himself, his life, his work, and the impression he wants to make. So, Asher, welcome to Let's Just Read. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. My name is Asher Robinson, or as I go professionally by Asher Warren. I am a self-published 16-year-old author. I have been writing as long as I can remember and publishing for 9 years. I currently have 2 published books, another one releasing this Halloween, and at this moment, I am writing my 5th book.
Right, wonderful. So welcome to the program, Asher. And it's indeed a pleasure to have you here with us.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Are you okay? Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Glad to have you. So you started writing at the age of 7. From a biological point of view and maybe a psychological point of view, many would tell you, the gurus would tell you, that's the best age to start anything. Because all your sense of reasoning and the purpose that you take for yourself in life begins at the age of 7. What made you so attracted to the skill of writing? What was the catalyst that brought you to make that decision?
So I've probably even been writing since before I was 7. I just use that as the age because it's the age that I can remember when I started taking it more seriously.
Right.
But even when I was like 3-4 years old, I always used to make these little like horror comic books that I would try to sell to my parents for like an outrageously overpriced amount. But so I think the reason why I liked writing is because, well, when I was really young, probably like 3 years old, my dad would show me horror movies. That's how I got into the horror genre.
Yeah.
And I just loved the way that someone could create their own story and tell it to people. So that's when I started with the comics. And then when I was 7 years old, I did some summer program where you would write a short story. And since then on, I just fell in love with it. I always have liked, since as far back as I can remember, I've always just liked creating my own story and being able to tell something that I've created, something that's personal to me. And I just think that it's something that something everyone can do. And it's just something that I think is super fun.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, Asher. Here's the thing. Is this the only genre you like in terms of your writing, or have you looked at other styles as well?
So I do slight other styles. So when I say horror, I mainly mean thriller because I don't just write plain out scary.
Okay.
My first book is full-on horror. It's a slasher novel. I took inspiration from movies like Scream, Halloween, those kind of stuff, which I loved when I was younger. And I wrote a book. My second novel is not straight up horror. It's more like a kind of psychological thriller. It's not necessarily super scary, but it's stressful, it's intense. And then the book I'm writing now, my 5th book, I wouldn't consider it a horror novel at all. Again, I would just consider that it's a psychological thriller, so it's an intense novel, but it's not necessarily scary. And then the book I just finished writing is more action than horror. but I like sticking to the thriller genre because it's such a wide variety of things. It can be thriller, can be like action, horror, sometimes even comedy. So
Yeah.
I do write in other small genres.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing, Asha. Who would you say, if you do have any, would be the strongest influence for you? Maybe Stephen King or someone like that?
I was gonna say I don't have a lot of crazy inspiration. Stephen King, he's a good author, but
Uh-huh.
I like him. But I would say my main inspiration that like has like helped me a lot throughout my writing, at least when I was younger during the early stages, was probably R.L. Stein.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was in elementary school, I was obsessed with the Goosebumps series. I
Mhm.
loved them. So I would R.L. Stein is definitely a huge inspiration.
Okay. So why self-publish and not go through a firm, a company, or someone who's an accomplished publisher or publishing editor?
So I don't think I've actually been asked this before. That's a good question. But the reason why I like self-publishing,
Uh-huh.
number one reason is because as a kid, I'm just a kid. It's very hard to find someone that will put your books out there for you,
Yeah.
especially if you're as young as me, because a lot of the times they don't think you'll be good enough.
Ah,
And at the same time, with self-publishing, I have full control of what I do.
okay.
I can control my release dates. I can control my promotion. I can control everything. But if you go through the normal way of publishing through a big company, sure, you
Uh-huh.
may get more exposure, but you don't have as much control.
Okay, I get it. And it kind of makes sense too. Thanks for sharing, Asha. Now, I want to get to Miniacal a little bit, but before we do
Yes.
that, tell us about the trees are breathing. What is the whole concept? And I suppose the lasting message you are giving readers out of that publication.
So the trees are breathing. I love that book. So my brother's currently reading it because he's doing a book
Wow.
report. He's doing a book report for his school and he likes it.
Okay.
So the trees are breathing follows two lifelong friends and lifelong adventurers. And their names are Adam Barker and Richard. I'm going to call him Dick Collins. That's his name.
Yeah.
They have been best friends since college and they've always loved going out to the woods and exploring. So they've turned it into a very successful TV show. If
Right.
some of the audience, if you've ever watched something such as Bear Grylls Man vs. Wild, it's something very similar to that, but it's two people instead of just one.
Yeah.
This book takes place when they're in their mid to late 40s. They have families. They can't risk getting injured or dying because they obviously have to come back to them. So they decide that it's time to end their TV show. So for their series finale, they go to the Siberian taiga, which is a frozen wasteland located deep in the forests of Russia.
Okay.
So before they head out on their trip, Adam, the main character, starts having these really weird dreams that if he leaves, very bad things are going to happen to him, his best friend, and his family. So he talks about it with his talks about it with his friend, he talks about it with his family, and they all kind of tell him that it's just stress and that everything's going to be okay.
Okay.
They go out on their trip and everything at first is fine. It's super cool. There's a lot of beautiful plants, trees, animals, tigers, bears. It's a lot of cool stuff that some people could only dream of going to.
Right.
But then a couple days into the trip, some things start being strange. They find animals like bears slaughtered around them, not knowing what could have killed them. It seems like hours and even days of their time are disappearing or being wiped from their memory. And they're noticing that the trees are making very strange noises, like contracting and compressing, almost like they're breathing.
Yeah.
And then eventually they realize that everything Adam was dreaming of is true and they're not alone in that forest.
Wow.
And that's the book.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a genuine thriller with some drama in there.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Asha. I really do. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how do you get your original ideas? Where does your main source of inspiration come from for your writing?
So I have a lot of source of inspiration. Like I was saying, for my first book, Maniacal, I got inspiration from Scream. I talked about that. When it comes to Trees Are Breathing, I always loved the Bear Grylls Man vs. Wild show because I thought it was just so cool seeing some guy travel out into the wilderness and try to survive.
Okay.
I took inspiration from that. That was the main source of inspiration for this. My fifth book, I'm skipping over 4 because there's not a lot of inspiration that went into that, so there's not much to talk about.
Okay.
But book 5 has heavy inspiration from a very famous book called Crime and Punishment, and then a TV series called You.
Okay.
So it's just a bunch of different things that I see all over the world, TV shows, movies, nature. It can be a bunch of different things that inspire my writing.
Yeah. So how much time do you actually spend behind the production, let's say you get an idea and you get your
Lot.
inspiration and you start going, how long does it take you to actually put it all together?
So that varies. My first book, Michael, it was a very short novel. It's about 150 pages. That took a year because I
Wow.
was lazy. I can show you right now. This is Maniacal. It's not that long. It's
Yeah.
pretty thin. But then this book, it's a lot bigger.
That's right.
But it
Yeah.
only took 3 to 6 months. It did not take that
Okay.
long.
Okay.
And then my third book, which releasing this Halloween, it is probably
Mhm.
the best thing I've ever written. That took about 6 months because it was on the longer side.
Mhm.
So it just depends how like often I'm writing. Because if I'm writing every day, I can get it done in a couple months. But if I take longer than that, it's going to take several months.
All right. Sounds good. I'm trying to focus on a balance for you because you're still quite a young man.
Yeah.
And in terms of your social activities, hanging out with people,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
at mall, sports, how do you
Yeah.
get that balance as a young man in your life and still have the time and the focus to do the writing when it comes? I mean, it probably takes a little more discipline from you. Is it a challenge for you?
So any teenage authors, any authors in general that are like aspiring authors, do not do what I do. When I'm about to say I do not condone myself. I write during class.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the classes I'm taking, at least currently, are easy, so I don't need a lot of studying time.
Okay.
So my parents are going to kill me if they listen to this. Please don't. But I write instead of paying attention. That's what I do.
hear you. All right. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to go to the family now.
Okay.
How much of what they do helps you to stay focused in terms of the support? You just mentioned your brother's reading one of your books.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Is the whole family constantly rallying around you, supporting you, urging you, encouraged? Do they understand the drive that you have?
Yes. So they understand the drive that I have. It's not, they obviously support me. They really do, but it's not like a constant like, oh, you got this. But I only think that's because I've been doing this for so long. So they kind of expect this of me.
Yeah.
But no, my entire family is very supportive. My brother is, like I said, doing a book report on The Trees of Breathing, which he loves. My sister wants to read my books, but she's way too young. My mom has helped out with some of the editing, and so is my stepmom. And then my dad also reads my books and enjoys them. So all of my family is very supportive and they read my stuff and they're all great about it.
Yeah, great. Sounds wonderful. Thanks for sharing, Asha. I want to take a look at what is happening currently in the world, and I want to get your feedback.
Okay.
In terms of what is happening in Israel with Hamas.
Yes.
It seems as though we have suddenly put Ukraine and Russia in the background. But how touched, how moved, how concerned are you for the current state of affairs in the world, particularly with that situation with Hamas and Israel?
Obviously, I don't want to get too political, but obviously I know what's going on. I'm not extremely caught up. I know a little bit what's going on. What's happening is not great. I know people that are on both sides, not Hamas's side, but I mean Palestine, because some people have family there, some have family in Israel.
Okay.
So it's a scary situation, but I don't really want to get into like what I support.
Understood.
But I just think what's going on is hopefully resolved soon. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I hope everything's resolved.
Yeah, I believe that's the best way to look at it. And I think most folks really want to get some level or some semblance of normalcy back so that we can continue living our lives as usual. So in terms of the people that you hang out with, friends, supporters, how much of an inspiration are you to them if they have to choose their specific careers, whatever they want to do, their calling, their purpose in life? You started really early. Are you finding yourself 2 or 3 steps ahead of the people that you hang out with?
So there are actually, I'm not going to name names, of course, but there are a couple people who, if I did name names, people would actually recognize who they are. I am friends and very close with a few people who have been starting as early as I have, or even earlier, and they're around the same level as I am, if not even higher.
Right.
But I do know a lot of people that, like, friends that are inspired by me. But then I also have some friends that are like, they don't understand. They don't like bully me for it, but they're like, dude, you're a teenager. Why are you writing so often? You're like, you have your entire life to do this. And I was like, yeah, but I'm trying to get ahead of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And
Yeah.
while you say that, I have some people that have published 20, 25, 30 novels and still going. What I want to know from you, Asha, is if you have an idea in mind that, say, by the time you reach 30 years, you want to have 20 novels or 30 publications.
Okay.
Is there a figure that you're looking at
No,
that
no.
you want to leave as your legacy, or are you just going to let it come as it flows?
So I let it come as it flows because like my first year, so I've been obviously, like I said, I've been publishing since I was 7, but
Right.
that was short stories.
Uh-huh.
Publishing full-length novels, I started only this year.
Yeah.
And this year I will have 3 books come out. But
Okay.
then next year, I'm actually expecting to be 4 to 5. So
Okay.
it just kind of depends how things go, because I don't have an exact number in mind because I prefer quality over quantity. So I could publish 30 books and be done, but then again, I could not stop and get to like hundreds. Like it
Yeah.
just depends, and I want to see how things go.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't have a number in mind.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. So tell me something, Asha.
Yes.
Would you like to see any of your publications, let's say in a movie or mini
Yes.
TV
100%.
series?
A million.
Good.
Yes. That has been a
Yeah.
dream since as long as I
Yeah.
can remember.
All right.
My best friend, we've been friends for almost a decade. His name is Ethan Nickel. He is one of the
Uh-huh.
editors on my books. Shout out to
Okay.
Ethan. I love that guy. He's a fantastic guy, amazing friend, huge
Wonderful.
supporter.
All right.
He is obsessed with filmmaking, and that's what he wants to do, which
Mhm.
is great for me because if I turned anything into a movie or a TV show whatsoever, I've already talked with him about it.
Right.
It would be this one. It would be The Trees
Okay,
Are Breathing.
great. The trees are breathing. I
The
get
Trees
it.
Are Breathing.
And
Because
why?
it's
Why this one?
well, the other books I feel like work better as books. Maniacal,
Ah.
if Maniacal was turned into a movie, it would just be your cliche slasher you've seen a million times.
Okay.
If my third book, Remorse and Regret, was turned into a movie, I don't think the whole plot of my third book is that it's super deep, it's super sad, and if it was turned into a movie, you wouldn't be able to feel that as much.
All right.
While The Trees Are Breathing is a super visual novel, where as a movie or TV show, I think it would do wonderfully, and that is a dream that I have. If that can, if even there's like a short YouTube film, like with low budget, even if there's something made of it, I would be
Right.
so happy.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I love your clarity. And I think that you have a wonderful vision for yourself going forward into the
Thank
future.
you.
In terms of, I mean, I just want to kind of come off the track a little bit and look
Okay.
at some lighter moments. I'm going to ask you a question about sports, but I'm actually
Okay.
going to give you a choice. And sometimes I ask these questions and I get one or the other. And sometimes they give me a third option, which is okay. I mean, that's fine, because what you like, you like. It's
Yeah.
always your choice. So you
Okay.
have the NBA, you have the NFL, you have Major League Baseball, and you also have the NHL.
Okay.
Which one grabs your attention the most?
None. I don't
Oh
like.
my goodness.
I don't watch sports.
Oh my goodness.
So there are only 2 sports I watch ever.
Uh-huh.
Those are MMA and boxing.
Okay.
Because I've been boxing for the past 2 years or so. So I
Mhm.
enjoy those kind of sports, but I never got into ball sports ever. I never did.
Wow.
I've never watched one or anything.
All right. And it doesn't even interest you. It doesn't make a difference.
No.
Wow.
Which it does. I've been asked this before, and it does surprise people. But no,
Yeah.
I'm not a sports guy.
It's kind of surprising, but it's also enlightening. I mean, look,
Yeah.
people don't naturally have to like something that everybody else likes.
Yeah. Exactly.
You always have the choice. Okay, so the next one is food.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Right up your alley.
My style. It's my
Face
style.
lights up, cheeks glowing. Is it ham and cheese or peanut butter and jelly?
Peanut butter jelly.
Ah, you did kind of just think about it slightly for a minute. Why peanut butter and jelly?
It's just a classic food. I
Uh-huh.
loved it when I was a child. I still love it now. I'm never not gonna like it.
I
It's a
get it.
classic.
I get it. Great, wonderful. So finally,
Okay.
is it Apple Inc. or Microsoft?
Oh, like which company do I prefer?
Yeah.
I think they both produce very, very good things. Like Microsoft has some very, very good computers and PCs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Apple also has some very good things.
Mhm.
But I have more Apple products. Like I use this. This is my MacBook that I'm on right now. I
Right.
use it for writing, editing, everything, and it's just amazing. So I have to say Apple, even though
Okay.
they necessarily don't make the better things. It's a
Yeah.
bias. I have to. It's a bias.
Yeah. And one of the main reasons for that is research has shown that Microsoft focuses on R&R, as well as trying to be just maybe 2 steps ahead. But Apple focuses mostly on just creating products that would be user friendly because they are more thinking about the people rather than the research.
And money.
And that makes a huge difference. So thanks for bearing with me, Asha. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
I just want to share something with you now.
Okay.
And I want to get your feedback on it. Let me see. Yeah, I got it here. Yeah, go.
I don't normally do these videos where I talk or like show my face or anything, but I just want to
Yeah,
say
my
for the
TikTok.
art competition, I have had some submissions already and I've received a lot of questions. I just want to say, like, clear up some of the rules. You can do digital art, you can do physical art. Just please email it to me. Deadlines are October 31st, so this Halloween. That is the release date for my third book, Remorse and Regret. And the art can be based off of any one of my books, or all three if you want. It can be based off Maniacal, The Trees Are Breathing, Remorse and Regret, or like a mix of all of them. And the winner will get a signed copy of Remorse and Regret. And that's it. So have a great day, guys.
Oh, my eye contact was
So-
horrible in that video.
But
Yeah.
you did say that you did not like to do these videos. You normally don't do these videos. So folks would understand, but was that some kind of promotion that you're doing? You're speaking about
Yes.
the art. Yeah, tell me
Yeah.
about it.
So I don't know. A lot of authors that I know personally were doing art competitions, and I was like, I'm gonna do one. So I actually have received a couple submissions so far. I can't share any, obviously, until it's over.
That's
I've
right.
received
All right.
so far. One is a clear winner. He's the
Mhm.
same guy that actually designed my book cover for my third book, and then I have a couple more submissions coming in soon. I just kind of see what people's creative side was. Like I said, I will mail them a signed copy of my book for free, and I will also publish their art in my fourth book, which is titled Magnolia, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into that because I haven't really talked about it that much.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was just doing a little fun competition in case people wanted to do it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like fun. Thanks for sharing, Asha.
Yeah.
I want to look at AI for a minute.
Okay.
Because I was recently told by an author that they had a conversation with Amazon, and Amazon is focusing on trying to get people to be more creative rather than to rely on AI as a
Yeah.
process of helping them to be more creative. I want to get your take on it, Asha.
So I think AI is very good for some things,
Yeah.
but there are also some things it's not good for. Like if someone here, I'll list the pros and cons of what I think that it should be used
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to go into the writing side of things. I'm not going to dive
Definitely.
into like cheating and stuff like that
Definitely.
on schoolwork. Do what you want to do. So when it comes
Uh-huh.
to writing, if you have a good idea and you know what your idea is and you came up with it, but you want to expand it, AI
Uh-huh.
can be useful because
Okay.
it can help figure out the end of your idea. I do not think AI should be used to come up with the idea for you. And I
Mhm.
do not think it should be used to write for you. I think AI should be used, though, to help with some grammar errors like Grammarly, stuff like that. That is fantastic. Use that all you want. But I do think that if you want to come up with an idea to write a book, do not have AI do it for you. Do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
How much of it do you use actually?
So I use AI when it comes to grammar and punctuation. I never use it when it comes to writing a story.
Okay.
Here's how I'll use it. If I write, let's say I write a chapter, and then I want to make sure that there's no spelling mistakes.
yeah,
I will run my chapter through an AI program that can tell me, oh, there's a mistake here, there's a mistake there. So then I save myself time, and that's what I use it for.
okay,
And the only other time I've ever used it is I didn't know what to, like the descriptions on the back of a book.
right,
I would give about maybe a paragraph or so of what to do, and then I would ask it to like maybe ask what I need to add or anything like that. But
Yeah.
and that's what I think it should be used for. But I will never use it to come up with ideas or write for me, because I
Yeah.
think that's wrong and taking away from the people that actually try their hardest.
yeah. I like that perspective. I really do. Thanks for sharing, Asha.
Yeah.
Now, with regards to anti-bullying, I saw some of that in your information, and I'd like
Yes.
to really get your perspective on that. Is it something that you saw while you were going to school and stuff?
Yes.
Or
Oh yeah. Yeah.
tell us a bit
Yes.
about that.
I don't see it I'm a junior in high school now, and I don't see it as much, but
Okay.
I had it a lot in elementary school, a lot in middle school, and a lot freshman year. I
Ah,
have mainly experienced bullying because of my writing. So I'm
Mm.
going to give a little story here.
sure.
I have a little cousin. I'm not going to tell you his name or anything like that, but I have this cousin who's obsessed with a video game called Minecraft.
Yeah.
And he liked reading Minecraft fan fiction, where someone would write a short story that had nothing, like that wasn't part of the game, but just their own little creative thing about the game. And he likes to read those before bed. His birthday was coming up, and I write. So what I did was I wrote him a short story about Minecraft for his birthday, because I thought he would like that. But the only way to get it printed is to publish it first.
Uh-huh.
So my plan was to publish the book, then take it down after ordering a copy. But turns out Amazon doesn't let you take your books down.
Yeah.
You can have it. You can have it so people can't buy it, but it's going to be on your page forever.
Right.
So when I was a freshman, and I didn't realize that, a lot of people bought the book, which, hey, you got me money, thank you. But a lot of people bought the book and would come up to me during lunch or during class or in the halls and start making fun of me because they thought I was some sort of fan fiction writer, when that's not what I was doing.
Okay.
And I experienced that for probably 8 months straight.
Wow.
So it was a long time nonstop, which was the entire school year.
Yeah.
And I experienced a lot of other things too. Like, I don't get why people bully you for doing that kind of stuff. Like,
Mhm.
if there's a kid who really likes art, or he's obsessed with a certain TV character, or he really likes writing, I don't get why someone feels so small inside that they need to pick on them for doing
Yeah.
what they love.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
I get
I
you.
don't get it.
I get you. I get you. Yeah. There's some things about people's behavior that sometimes just don't make sense.
Doesn't
And
make sense.
it's kind of hard to understand, but wow, it's just part of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
What is the message, though, that you want to get to people who are caught up in that kind of negative influence, that kind of negative scenario? If you had a megaphone and you got the opportunity to say something to them, a shout out, what would you say to them, Asha?
To the people that are being bullied,
Yeah. Yeah.
do not let it affect you at all. I
Mm,
know it. I know that's what people always tell you. Don't let it affect you. And it's obviously easier said than done. It's super hard to not let something bother you if it's happening to you every single day, but you
yeah.
have to just ignore them. I know it's not snitching if you tell an adult. It's not snitching if you go tell someone about it to get help, because eventually things can escalate, and sometimes
Mhm.
things get really bad.
Mhm.
Either things can get physical, or sometimes people get so upset by bullying it leads to self-harm. So it would be just best to tell someone about it and try to get it resolved.
Yeah.
And if you can't get it resolved, I don't exactly know what to do, but just always stay smart about it. Don't do something, don't stoop down to their level. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I fully support that, and I appreciate your openness. I can hear the passion in your voice,
Yeah.
and I also appreciate the adult approach that you have taken. So my last question to you is,
Yes.
what would you say to young people who are striving to do what you do, the writing? They
Just
love
do
it. Okay, just do it. Oh,
And
the
I
Nike thing.
know, yeah, the Nike, yeah. People, I've been messaged by a lot of people saying that, like, hey, Asher, you're a huge inspiration. I love what you do. I want to do the same thing, but I don't have the motivation.
Ah.
And a lot of the time, the reason they don't have motivation is because they're afraid that they're either going to get bullied or
Mhm.
that they're not going to do well or stuff like
Mhm.
that. I can speak from
Wow.
experience. My first novel, right here, did not do that well. Some of the
Mm.
reviews said, "Oh wow, this is a fun book. I enjoy it." But then half of the reviews were saying like, "Oh, this looks like it's written from a 5-year-old. It's absolute garbage, blah blah blah." A lot of people are afraid of those reviews, and that is the main reason they don't write, or they're afraid their idea isn't good enough. There's a quote, I'm paraphrasing here, it's from Stan Lee.
Sure. Sure.
Rest in peace, Stan Lee. It's a great quote. It was,
Yeah.
if you have an idea that you think is genuinely good, don't let some stupid fool talk you out of it.
Mm.
That's it. If you have an idea, don't let people bully you out of it. Write down your idea, do what you want to do. Sure, the first thing might not go that well for you, but just because your first thing isn't successful, that doesn't mean you won't be
mean-
in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like me, my first book did not get the best reviews. My second book, really good reviews because I improved upon myself.
Right.
All you have to do, if you have an idea and you're passionate about it, go for it.
That's right. Yeah. I say hooray to that. Wonderful. So
Yeah.
we have come to basically the end. And I just want to give Asher the opportunity to share his social hashtag information with the people that need to contact him. They need his writing. They need to get, results with regards to what his thought process was and that kind of stuff. Go ahead, share it.
So you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Asher Robinson09. ASHERROBINSON09. That is my Instagram. I'm more active on TikTok. I post every other day pretty much. That is Asher Warren Writes, ASHERWARRENWRITES. Or you can go to my website where you can find my podcast with my friend. That's Ethan, the one I mentioned. His short films, or you can find all of my books and information about me. You can find my email and my business phone number in case you want to get in contact. That is warrencreations.com, WARRENCREATIONS.com. And those are the places where you can find me.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing, Asher. Just one more thing before we complete this episode. Your pen name is Warren,
Yes.
but your last name actually is Robinson.
There's no reason for it. There's not a reason. No, I've been asked this a lot. There's absolutely no reason. I just wanted to be different. There's nothing.
Okay.
I just think that Warren looks a lot better on paper than Robinson does.
All right, I get it.
There's no reason for it. There's no one I personally know that I'm related to or anything named Warren. It's literally just because I was like, why not?
Wonderful. I love it. Thank you, Asher. You've been an amazing guest. There
Thank
you have
you so
it.
much for having me.
And this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development on Let's Just Read with our special guest, the man, Asher Warren. And please check out his websites, check out his publications, check out his books. He's young, entrepreneurial, and he's giving information and content that can create an opportunity for you to imagine wonderful things. So, until next time, remember, the watchwords are enlightenment, knowledge, and information. This is Andy, along with my guest Asher saying, so long, Godspeed, God bless. Bye.